2014 was a stellar year for Ronnie O'Sullivan. The Masters, the UK Championship, the Welsh Open and the Champion of Champions were all on the Rockets' hit list, along with 2 incredible maximum breaks. His best match of the year, though, was just his second of 2014, what was later described by many as snooker from the gods.
Now, one of the things we do on the Ronnie O'Sullivan Show is we look back at some of your most, well, your best moments on the snooker table. This is one of your best moments, your best matches as well, and it lasted just under an hour. Of course, it was at the Masters this year, earlier on, 2014. A game that Ricky Walden will want to forget. Where do you rank this match amongst your all-time performances? Because it was faultless from your point of view.
Yeah, I mean, definitely as far as sort of break building, dominance, and just, you know, just pure accuracy, really. It was probably the best match I've ever played. But it was just one of them days where everything I just hit was just bang in the middle of the hole.
Great pot from O'Sullivan. 1.
Now, a lot of amateurs playing the game, they often practice with maybe 3, 4, 5 reds left, because that's where you quite often win a frame of snooker. You get to the table, you're sort of 30 or 40 behind, there's 3 or 4 reds left. Do you practice a setup like this a lot? Do you put maybe a cluster of balls around the black spot and then try and dish up?
Yeah, a lot of my stuff is kind of based around, you know, break building and trying to win the frame in one visit if you can, but a lot of this stuff is just stuff that you've been doing over the years, and it's just how you picture the table and you see it. And even in this break so far, you know, I've played 2 or 3 loose positional shots. So, you know, my positional play wasn't great, but, you know, as long as you're concentrating well and you're focusing on one ball at a time, then you're able to recover it sometimes, and that's what I've done.
The rocket has liftoff. Terrific clearance of 79 from Ronnie O'Sullivan to take the opening frame.
That's a horrible situation to be in, Ricky Walden.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble there, because...
How are you going to get out? If this is your shot, what are you doing to get out?
You can only contain here, and this is where you want your opponent, really, whereas they can't attack you.
Is he trying to drop on that ball on the cushion?
Yeah, I think his only opportunity in there to try and contain me. But once you've got him in this position, you're dictating the play. But again, you know, there's not a lot on here that I can really do. You know, I want to try and get my white in this area, because then I know that this side's blocked off. But I don't want to leave him a shot where he can put me in trouble. So even though I've got the upper hand here, you're always aware that you don't want to give the upper hand back to your opponent.
So that's what you're trying to do? You're trying to get the white behind, like the blue and the yellow?
Yeah, I don't just want to stick the white up here and sit back in my chair and then come back and think, well, I haven't put him in trouble, you know.
OK, so it's not just about getting it safe, it's getting him in trouble as well? Yeah,
it's about getting the right line, getting in trouble. So I don't really want him to be able to...
to flick it that side of the table so he can come back
he's playing here, he hasn't got great control over the cue ball, whereas if the white was there, you can hit this one a lot harder, swing it around there and put me in trouble. So by doing that, all he's been able to do is play that shot. He hasn't been able to put any work into the white, because he would have gone in off.
Basically, he's just surviving.
Too risky, yeah. He's kind of playing contain. Whereas me now, I can swing this around, put a lot of power into the shot, go for the pot. I've put side.
Did you go for that? Was it a shot to nothing?
I sort of went for it, but again, look, I haven't got a great length. But as long as I've got a good line, you know, I'm thinking if that stops there, he's snookered. But he isn't. But this isn't an easy shot. So I'm always thinking that, you know, even though I'm leaving him that, it's still not an easy shot.
In a situation like that, because he's playing it full ball, or sort of half ball, but direct, is it not better to come off the cushion? Because you've got the worry he's playing it too thick, which is, of course, exactly what he's done. Should he not have come off the cushion and just
but if he does that, then I'm just going to then clip off that red and put him in trouble. Ricky's now trying to obviously get the upper hand and gain control. He's been on the back foot for maybe 4 or 5 safeties, and if you keep playing shots and you're on the back foot, you start to then think, oh, I'm not getting in the game, I'm being bullied, I'm being bossed around.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of really trying to make every safety shot count, and when you've got the upper hand, keeping the upper hand, and now I've got half a chance. Now the pressure's on me now, because I've had him in trouble for 4 or 5 shots.
Are you looking not just at the pot, but a route back to ball?
Well, basically, I'm only going to go for a red if I can get onto a colour. There's no point me potting this red and not getting on a colour, because there's too much at stake, there's too much risky. See, if I'd have missed that, I've left him in, he's got control. I didn't aim on hitting.
So where were you trying to get the white?
I tried to get in here.
OK, and then come round for the pink?
For the pink, and then I think I can win the game. So, although I've potted 1, it was, you know, it's not really. I've not really done anything. So now it's about just getting good safety again, keeping the pressure on. You know, you can only really play something off of this red.
Up and down.
I've got a good white, so he can't dig into the white and get any spin on the white.
Do you enjoy the safety battles like this?
I do now, yeah. I mean, I
used to hate them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was always more an aggressive attacking player, but since working with Ray Reardon, I've kind of realised that safety is a massive part of the game, and if you want to compete in a modern world, you've got to be able to play the safety, the break building, and, you know, these top players are so good that you have to have the all-round game.
So he's left you a sort of half chance here.
Yeah, this one here.
But again, is it important that you've got that route back to the ball cushion? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I played a bad shot, so I've played 2 bad shots, although, and it was only because I potted them that I got away with it. If I missed that, he's banging the balls. I didn't mean to hit the black, but because I did, I've kind of kept up here. So there's a bit of luck involved, but you still got to get the putt.
So you're trying to swing round the black?
Yeah, I wanted to miss the black. There was no way I was aiming to hit that. I was going to come up round here, maybe for Browning or the yellow. But as it turned out, and it's at moments like this that you start to think, OK, I've played good safety, I've been patient, I'm not feeling great, I'm nervous.
He's a good-looking lad, that fella.
I'm nervous, and I've kind of, you know, and I've been patient, and now I've got my rewards. So now it's just a matter of concentration, and then the balls are perfect, really. I mean, if you look at these 6 reds, there's a 50-60 break on. So that all I'm thinking is try and make 50-60 here. Just try and keep it nice, neat, compact.
Is that honestly all you're thinking? Just make the frame when you break the 60? You're not thinking of a ton?
Nah. I mean, not at all.
So
no.
you're thinking, I'm not going to touch these, I'm not going to touch those?
Yeah, if you offered me 65-70 now, I'd go, yeah,
of course, yeah.
Happy days, I'll take that.
When you get to that 68 head, 67 on the table...
Yeah, you start to relax.
Does it? Does it make that much of a difference?
Now I'm thinking 100. Now I'm thinking, OK, I've won the frame. I'm in the driving seat. I just want to continue now, you know, potting balls, keeping him off the table.
Let me ask you...
trying to find that sweet spot.
At the beginning of your career, when you used to get to the latter stages of the frame and you knew it was in the bag, very similar to this, you would start playing a lot of exhibition shots, a bit like Jimmy White used to do.
Yeah.
And then you stopped doing that. It's like, back in the day, you would have slammed that in.
Yeah, I just think sometimes you just become a bit more professional about how you think, the way you perform, the way you approach the game. So, whereas before I used to play in a lot of anger and a lot of frustration. Yeah. You know, people go, oh, yeah, did you see Ronnie play? He potted this, he playing that. But really, I was just so frustrated and angry with how I was playing, I'd just end up just wanting to smash balls everywhere. Whereas now I'm actually feeling much more disciplined in the way I approach the game. I'm now wanting to finish the game, play the right shot, and it's just a state of mind, really. So, you know, I mean, I've got off to a great start. It's 2-0, and yeah, I'm thinking, you know, this is where I want to be.
You've been in that situation where you've been sat in your seat for a long time.
Yeah.
How difficult was it?
Horrendous. It's the worst feeling in the world. You just feel like an idiot sitting there. You feel like, oh, what am I doing here? You know, I'm just...
I have to talk about this shot because swerving around the brown and potting the long red.
There was an element of, like, that was like a 1 in maybe 100 shot. But when you're hitting the ball well, if you notice there, the white swerved a bit.
But what are you playing?
But you're playing just to get a real good, solid contact on the white, get a nice throw. And if you get a nice throw, the idea was just to get the white down to here.
Oh, OK.
And as long as I get that right, I'm not bothered if the white goes in, because I was in trouble. Really, I didn't have a shot on. After I potted the first red, a lot of players would have just played safe. Because
you're 3-0 up and you're flying?
Well, I'm just thinking, this is a chance. You've got to make the most of your chances, whereas a lot of players, I think it's a bit risky, play safe. And I think that's the difference between me, Higgins and Hendry. Even though they look a bit risky, we do realise that it's a chance, and you've got to make your chance. And by going for that, even if you miss it, you're still sending a message out that I ain't backing down. You're going to get that for the whole match. So you're applying pressure all the time.
But a lot of players might not play that attacking shot.
Yeah, but
because in the back of their mind, they think, I can't really clear up from here.
Yeah,
not clear up, but you know that you've got the talent.
That's putting limitations on your mind, on your game,
of course.
and you're settling for second best.
Yeah.
You're saying, basically, I'm hoping you make a mistake so I can win.
Yes.
And I know that you're never going to be successful if you play with that attitude. The only way to be successful and a serial winner like Hendry and Higgins is to take the game by the scruff of the neck, make it happen.
But a lot of players don't have that. Well,
I think they accept that they're not prepared to change their game, to train their technique, to change their outlook upon playing. I don't accept that people can't play like that. I just think people are not prepared to take the risk to take their game apart and try and take their game to the next level.
So only 2 loose reds now, so of course
Yeah.
you've got to split the pack open.
Yeah. And again, it's just about getting a solid contact. I only want 1 shot. I'm not looking to get on 2 or 3 reds. You know, ideally that'd be great, but it wasn't a great pack to go in, so, you know...
Did you hit the right red in the right place?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of could have hit it half ball, got a bit of an arc and left my white up here. But then you've really got to be cueing well to control the spin, because otherwise you could have missed the pack and left myself nothing.
Right.
So I'm thinking...
Just talk me through this shot, because it's an incredible shot and it just about drops in.
Yeah, I mean, it can go wrong because you're so close, but it was a straight shot, so I just had to make sure I didn't double hit it. So even though it looked like quite a good shot, it wasn't as good as, say, where I potted the black from there, you know? It was...
OK. Do you like the little tippy-tappy shots, like this pink as well, a little?
No.
You don't like them?
I don't like tippy-tappy shots. I'd rather hit a ball firm so as it holds its line more, you know, and you got more solid shot, you know. When you start sort of just trying to tippy-tappy and you start to then get a bit hesitant in your technique, and then you start to lose the white a little bit, and then your positional play suffers a bit, and so I'd rather hit firm shots.
Look at that. Look at that. The crowd love it.
Well, that's incredible. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Were you surprised Ricky came out after the interval?
Nah.
4-0 up, I mean, it's such a lovely position to be in, isn't it?
Now, things like that happen, now you know it's your day. You know, I've played all them frames, I'm thinking whatever, but then I played a really bad break, and he should be in by rights, and I've missed the blue. Look, I meant to come in here. I've gone round there, that's how far out I was. I hit the knuckle, and it's turned out I've got him bang in trouble. And that's ridiculous. I mean, that I should be fined for that. I should get a disciplinary letter in the post for that, you know what I mean, for being too lucky. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, now I'm embarrassed, because I'm thinking I'm 4-0 up, Ricky's a nice guy, and I've played a terrible shot, and I'm banging trouble, and I'm thinking, it's a liberty, really. You know, if that was happening to me, I'd be like, you know what I mean, I'd be cursing.
I think deep down he probably was.
Yeah, and you know, but that's why I always say snooker is a nasty sport. It's kind of... It's so harsh. You know, and he played a decent shot there, but now I'm falling out, I've got a bit of luck, now I'm thinking, right, everything's in my favour. Like you said, is there a point where you think, oh, everything I do today, I'm just going to breathe? Now this is the part of the game where I think, hold on, it is my day. So that's a typical example about the line. You see Ricky there, he's hit the yellow.
Yeah. I mean, he's responsible for that.
If I was Ricky's coach, I would say, look, that's a fatal error. We are now going to get back on the practice table, and part of your punishment and part of you becoming a better player is that we're going to give 15 minutes a day, that's all, 15 minutes, and you're just going to play these shots. You're just going to be playing these shots, and it's going to be like a warm-up for you. So you go to the gym, you do a bit of stretching, that's a warm-up for you. You ain't got to play them perfect, you just got to play 15 minutes a day, 4 or 5 times a week. If you times that by a week, times that by a month, that's 6 hours that you've allocated to that.
It'll make a huge difference.
And then when you get in a match, you're going to play that shot and you're going to get it right maybe half the time instead of none of the time.
Yeah.
You know, by that one shot, he's lost control of the table, and that's being harsh. But you know, we're talking about top-level sport here, so you're going to have to be harsh. This was a good shot. When I'm hitting these balls well, look, boom, 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 reds. But my white's not here, my white's nowhere near that red. I'm playing for an area, and now I'm sort of, this is where the game's becoming easy now. You know, I'm starting to feel really confident, really happy, hitting the ball well. I'm in control. Look, I've even like bossed it off the cushion. Some players might just play for the red in the middle. But I just thought, no, I'm really hitting it well. I want to really punch this one in.
Yeah, he wanted another century, didn't he? But 77 will do. The onslaught continues.
So when he's breaking off for frame 6,
Yeah.
are you thinking, I really want to whitewash, or are you thinking, get out as quick as you can, or just, it's all about
No,
the net?
I've learned so much from working with Steve Peters, you know. There'd be a lot of times where I'd be like, oh, I'm 3-0 up, 4-0 up, don't make a mistake, you know, you've got control. And I just think, no, I just want to play each ball, each frame. In fact, I don't want it to end. The attitude I have, that I want to have, is that I don't want it to end. I don't want this to end. It's what, you know, you want to enjoy the process.
You so wouldn't have said that 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
That's a great shot. That's what we were talking about earlier, about your long game.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
little flick off the black.
Yeah, and I mean, I've played for the black, which is...
But not the flick.
Not the flick, no.
But it sort of helped. I mean, that could have gone wrong dramatically.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, to play shots like that, I mean, you have to be, like, really seeing it well and confident.
You're thinking maximum now, aren't you?
No.
Come on.
No, I ain't.
You are. Look,
I'm
even
not.
your little grid now tells me you are.
No, I really ain't. I'm definitely not thinking maximum.
Everyone else in there is, you know that.
If I'd have been playing great positional play all through the match, you know, and getting on the black, you know, as I've explained to you before, I've had to go up to the blue a lot, I've had to play a lot of bulk colours, so I'm not really playing these shots fantastic, but, you know, I'm just thinking, OK, I'm not playing them fantastic, but, you know, I'll just do what I can, just keep control as much as I can, just keep potting balls, you know, and just, if you can stay around the black, great, if not, you're playing up for the blue pretty well, you know, and just trying to just play the right shot. But if I'm on it and I'm hitting every ball at the sweet spot, then I'm thinking a 147's possible.
But that was the only thing missing from this performance.
You know, that shot was a good shot, because a lot of the time you can hit it wrong and not get up there, but when you start playing them shots good, it's nice, because you kind of, you know, played it really well.
And those shots, I mean, you've not played that well at all.
That was awful.
But why is that? Because the distance between the white and the red?
Well, because like I said to you before, you know,
But it might have turned out right, because you've got an angle on the black toe of the reds.
No, but it's still not good, you know what I mean? It's, what I'm saying is like, at the start of the match, I said I wasn't feeling great, and them shots are in your locker. But I've focused so well that I've not allowed it to affect me. But it's the minute you lose your concentration, then you can throw a really bad one in. But when you're cueing really well, your bad ones are not so bad. You know, maybe I was thinking of a match.
Sure.
Yeah, I was, yeah. But again, I think I got away with it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I left in the red in the middle. And I was a bit disappointed, you can see by the expression on my face.
Do you still get nervous on a maximum?
Yeah, you still get
practice?
nervous. I don't really go for them in practice, really.
Do you not?
Yeah, no. So, but in the matches, yeah, you can't help but get nervous, you know, because it's sort of.
You feel for him there, don't you?
He got away with that, though. Look.
Yeah, he won't be thinking.
No,
I got away
I'm
with that.
joking. I'm being that's me being silly.
Do you think he wants to just get out of there as quickly as possible?
Probably, yeah. But again, you know, years ago I might have tried to pop that, get on the pink, panicked. I should have won the frame in one visit and I haven't. Or next chance I get, I'm going to try and make it happen. But I thought, you know what? Nah, the right shot is the snooker. Enjoy the process. Play the right shot. You're out here. You know, this is what you practice years and years for. Why rush and getting out?
Good shot. You don't really want to leave a touching ball,
Nah, it's a containing shot, and it's easy for me to just drop that down onto the bulk cushion. And
in fact, you would think effectively ends the frame, because if it is a touching ball, which it was,
yeah, I mean,
he's in trouble.
Yeah, I've put him in trouble there. He's not really got a lot on there. But again, you know, this is it where you kind of want to get that line, or you want to hit it thicker and get that line and come in behind the yellow.
Is he playing for the first red or the second red?
He played for that. That's the red I would have played for. And you see, he's got a decent line.
But just a bit short.
Well, yeah, but you don't mind. You get a good line.
Okay.
You can suffer being a few bits off the cushion, because there's not a lot I can do. All I can do is try and play another good safety shot. But here I'm going to try and maybe swing it round, because I like playing that shot. You got more control over the white. The more power you can probably put into the ball, the more control you got over it. So I always like to play that shot where you swing it round.
That's a difficult shot. As a keen player of the game, I find that one of the most difficult shots.
Yeah, because you've got to judge the side that you put on the white.
Yeah.
You're swerving the ball.
That's right.
But you've got to kind of get the right contacts on the object ball as well. And again, like I said, you know, like he's totally hit that wrong. He's got away with it, but he's hit it thin. He's got a bad line. If that was a safety shot, it'd have been up and down.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd say, you know, it's important to try and practice them shots, because they come up quite a lot. They're like shot to nothings. There's the safety shot. You play that shot quite a lot, and if you get your head around maybe understanding why you hit one good, why you hit one bad. I mean, that's a good
such
line.
a good shot.
It's a good line. It was a good weight. And then you end up getting a little flick off a ball and it goes on the cushion. So there's an element of luck there, but there's an element of, like, you know that once you get that bit right, even if you go close to it, you're not going to get a full ball contact.
So you didn't put enough side on that at all? I mean, that's quite...
We didn't hit it hard enough.
For the side to take?
Yeah, we just didn't hit it hard enough.
Yeah.
It was a bit weak, it was a bit... The side, you didn't hit a solid contact on the white, so by the time it hit the cushion, the side was gone.
Yeah.
But if you hit it a bit firmer, the side would have held on. By the time it got to the cushion, the side was off.
And why has he done that? Because
he hasn't been firm enough of it. That's why when you look at John Higgins, he would always be firm with that, and he would have got the side, and it would have come down there, and you'd have been in trouble. But that ain't easy.
No.
I mean, that takes accuracy, technique...
And it's more difficult when you're 5-0 down.
Do you know what I mean? That's a really hard shot we're talking about there. It's not an easy shot, especially under the pressure. So I'm not being critical. I'm just highlighting the little subtleties of a John Higgins, why John Higgins is so good, why Steve Hendry, why Steve Davis was so good, because they played them shots 9 times out of 10. And Selby, he'd play that shot. You know, he'd never make that mistake.
You know, back in now, of course, the frame and the match is done and dusted. It's a nice position to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Home crowd.
Yeah.
6-0.
I love this tournament, you know, because it's just down the road and it's like top 16 players in the world. It is really like the Masters at golf, I suppose. It's just such a great event to play in. So to kind of start hitting a bit of form at this stage of the tournament was good, you know. And,
Can you carry form through?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Can you?
When you start playing like this and you know you're consistently strong and solid, that's what I'm saying. I knew I wasn't going to be able to perform like this in my next match because you know you have these are just like rare moments. But for me, it was just about knowing that you know I was going to be strong in all departments. You know, I wasn't going to my levels. So if you got a level from 1 to 10, that was 10. I knew I wasn't going to drop below 7. So and even 7 was 32. Still going to be, you know, good enough to win the tournament, good enough to play. It's when you start dropping down to like 4s and 3s, you think, hold on, mate, I'm going to get found out here today or in this tournament.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 39 frame on the match.
What did you say? You were lucky in the second. That's a nice feeling, isn't it, coming up?
Yeah, it's really pleasing to have, you know, I know it wasn't exciting in terms of, you know, it was tense and down to a final frame. But it was good in the way that, you know, the standard was great. I played some good stuff. And
where do you rate that match?
That's got to be, you know, it's got to be one of my best matches. You know, I played a lot of good matches. I think one of the best matches I played was against Hawkins in the final World Championships. I really felt I was scoring well, potting well. My safety was good, and especially having a year out, it really kind of was like a special moment for me. But this was more kind of, you know, I was in the groove. I've been playing a few tournaments up until this, so to put in performances like this when you put the hard work in and you've maybe not won as many tournaments, you know, you've lost in the quarters or you've lost a few matches, but you feel like your game's there. To then when come to a major tournament and it really just all hits form, you just think, well, all that hard work is, and all the little sacrifices you make for it to come right in a tournament like this, that's what you pray for and you hope for, you know, and it doesn't always happen, but when it does, you just have to go, you know what, you know, I'm lucky in some ways to have experienced that, you know.
Stay tuned, as after the break, it's Ronnie's best interviews from the first series.
Hey, you're good at this.
Throughout the first series of the Ronnie O'Sullivan Show, the 5-time world champion has interviewed some of the game's biggest stars. Here's a selection of the best bits, which we just didn't have time to show you first time around.
For you, what was it like getting into snooker, and what was your first memories of like starting playing snooker, really?
The game back that far, going back into the 70s, was very much the story of 2 different strands. The working men's club, the social clubs, where people were playing as a pastime, very much on the side of having a beer. And then the snooker clubs, the billiard halls that were temperance, no drink. Snooker people went along there to play just snooker. And those 2 strands were running sort of concurrently. And at some stage along the line, the popularity of the game was bubbling under. And TV came along at just the right moment to tap into that enthusiasm. And before we knew it, not only did we have Pot Black, which was the granddaddy of all the TV programmes, but the next phase of that was the Wimbledon-style World Championship, which was well known to the masses the year that Terry Griffiths won it, in '79. And I was very fortunate that I'd turned professional '78 and was starting to make a name for myself, but didn't really know what was ahead because we didn't know what was ahead for the game. And before I knew it, I was, in the space of 2 years, from being a young, up-and-coming player, turning professional. 2 years later, I was a household name on British television. It's quite an astonishing transformation, and the rest of the 80s was like that. At one stage, we seemed to be on, say we, the top players, seemed to be on every television programme going. Invited onto any type of programme. Some of the things we got invited onto were big sort of TV news, you know, Morecambe and Wise shows, a comedy show, was massive in the UK. You get invited onto it. It seemed like Spitting Image.
I remember that.
Yeah. Cannon and Ball, which were a big name at the time. But like, you know, kids programmes like Blue Peter and Tiswas that were, you know, they only got people that people knew on, so therefore the game must have been popular. And we felt like pop stars. And I would say the modern-day player, apart from yourself, the modern-day player is not treated like that. You're still treated like that, so you'll know to some degree the excitement that surrounds you. There's a little bit of a fervour around things. But that was what it was like back in the 80s. We were mobbed.
I've watched how you've played certain players. I mean, John Higgins, for me, is one of the greatest players ever played, and he kind of has the voodoo on pretty much everyone he plays. But I remember once you came on the circuit, you kind of stopped him in his tracks, and he'd be playing well, and you'd be going bang, 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 and you could just see that, hold on, you kind of gave everyone a bit of hope that... No, really, I mean, because he could have run away with it. He was that good of a player, but for someone like you to come along, you kind of pulled him back towards the pack, and I don't know whether you realise that, but that's what I see that happened. What I want to know is that did you have a game plan or a strategy to cope with someone like Higgins?
When you're playing like a middle-ranked sort of player, someone around sort of 20 or 30 in the world, there's not so much of a... You kind of know if you play well, you kind of win. With John Higgins, you can play well and you can play really well and you can still get beat. I mean, I beat him in the semi-finals of the Grand Prix in 2009. I beat him 6-5 on the black. I had 3 total clearances to go 5-3 up.
I remember that match.
And he wouldn't go away. You know, he just kept... And he's got back to 5 each. I ended up winning 6-5 on the black, but after that match, I sort of thought, how could I ever even come close to losing that with how well I've played? And I think that, you know, playing the likes of yourself, you know, John Higgins, Stephen Hendry, there needs to be, you've got to be able to do something special. You know, you need to do more than just sort of go out and just play, you know, and see what happens. So yeah, I mean, against him, I've got sort of, you know, my own ideas about how to play against him. As I do for all the top players, you know, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. You know, certain players like potting long balls on the left side of the table. Certain players, they absolutely hate potting long balls on the right side of the table. Against Stuart Bingham in the semi-finals of the UK Championship, I exploited what I felt was a technical weakness of his, and pretty much the plan worked perfectly to go 8-2 or 8-3 up, and then the pressure was off and he played unbelievable to get back to 8 each. But you know, the game plan had worked, and I'd done it sort of pretty much perfectly. You know, I watched his matches and seeing where he misses certain long balls, which cushion he's always hitting the balls into, but on the other side of the table he never missed them. So obviously my focus was to leave him tempters on a certain side of the table, and he kept going for them, missing and leaving me in.
Another time I wanted to take you back to was, and I remember it really well, was the meet at World Masters. And I remember we had like a combination event, so I think they had the men's doubles, the mixed doubles, the singles, they had the junior event. I was playing in the junior event there. And I remember you just kind of, you won the main event, you won the mixed doubles, I think, or you got to the final with Karen Court.
Yeah, she potted a red-yellow in the whole tournament. But her safety was really good. But yeah, I won that tour, and actually, you mentioned in your book that I was a bit out of order. I have apologised to you, but I had an accumulator going, and you'd come round sort of from your table, and you was looking at my table, and I come over to you and I said, you know, concentrate on your game, because you was my last one in the accumulator. And you lost to Cliff Wilson, so I apologise to you about that on TV.
They're all great sportsmen. Sometimes they walk in a room, they don't have to be loud, they don't have to be dressed good, they've just got something about them, you know, and I feel it with great golfers, with great fighters. Before you even know what they do, you can almost feel some chemistry. I knew Hendry was going to be good, and I did my best to screw him up as much as I could, because I'm fighting my corner for my man. And I remember his manager then, Ian Doyle, came on and said, I've got this kid. Would Davis come up to Scotland and play him 10 consecutive nights? And we're paying good money. And I knew what he was doing because he was doing what I did. He was learning.
Learning the trade, yeah.
So I've got two ways of playing it. Do I say no, turn down the money and not give him the experience? I went for plan B, and I said to Steve, I want you to go up to Scotland, I want you to smash this kid up every night. No quarter, don't think it's an exhibition, I want him slaughtered. And he went up, he'd done him 9-0, 9-0, 9-1, 9-2, 9-0. It was a beating, of the most vicious beating, and Steve was like loving it, because you know, he's an on-top player, he likes to be the man. And in those days it was, and he was only a kid, Hendry. It could have gone either way. It could have finished him off. It didn't. Where they had the last laugh, it made him stronger. And he was a great, great player, you know. I mean,
was there a point, though, where you thought, I want to sign Stephen Hendry?
I would have signed him if he'd have been available, but he had a very close relationship with Ian Doyle, and that, I understand that. His relationship was a bit more father and son. Me and Steve's relationship was a bit more older brother and younger brother, you know, because there's 10 years between us. Stephen was dominated by his manager, and who was very, you know, tough on him, and probably rightly so. But it meant there was no way in for someone like me. Whereas when Dennis Taylor beat Steve, the commercial reality of, Dennis, if you come with me, you're going to make a lot more money. That worked, but Hendry was protected from that.
Did you see signing me as an opportunity to regain some sort of dominance in the game? Well,
it's difficult,
what was going for you?
It's difficult being interviewed by you, because you try and make sure you're telling the truth, but at the same time, I've known you for so long, isn't it? You know, what did I see in you was, and again, well, people know I only tell the truth now because I'm too old to lie. I saw prodigious talent when you was 12 years old. I saw also other things that weren't so good. I saw a kid that was spoilt rotten by his mum and dad. Everything he wanted was there, you know. And they were, obviously, especially with your dad, I remember him, you know, they put a wall round you as well. They gave you the protection that every father would want to give to his son. So, but actually ability, you see, you didn't have the thing about coming out of a really rough society or a really poor society. You had a very good upbringing, you was looked after, you lived in nice houses, you had money in the family. But you see, talent comes through everything if it's really super talent, and you always were going to be. I mean, people used to talk about you in the billiard halls, you know. Everyone wanted to own a bit of you, everyone wanted to back you in certain stages because you just had God-given talent, Ronnie. And you know, as I say, I've said it 1,000 times, you don't come across the talent you had very often. Now, whether you've made as much of it as you could have done, I think is another discussion.
You think I could have done more, don't you?
Oh, yes.
A lot more.
A lot more, a lot more. I mean, I managed you once or twice or whatever, a couple of times, and, you know, you were... You know, you weren't perfect to manage. You know, you weren't. There were times when you was a problem, but, you know, we love you, so you make up with that. But the frustration was, unfortunately, God willing, you've still got an awful lot left to offer. But certainly, by now, you could have already been 10 times world champion.
Why do you think I'm still not managed by you? Like, you've managed Davis from start to finish. Why do you think
I think you're a bit more... You're a little bit more commercial animal, Ronnie. You know, you've got a brain going in different directions. You see, someone like Steve, he'd come into my office every year and I'd say, sit down, I'm going to tell you what you've got. And he would always say, because his checkbook's in my top right-hand corner. He's like royalty, Davis. Never paid a bill in his life. I always looked after him. I spoiled him as well, you know. And he'd say to me every year, do I have to look at... I said, you've got to look at your accounts. Do I have to look at my accounts? Yes, you do. Am I all right? I said, yeah, you're more than all right. He went, well, I don't need to know anymore. He's not interested. Now, you're a different animal. You've got eyes outside the box. You know, you always look at a bit of property, look at a deal, look at a business. It's a different upbringing, and you're different people. You know, you live different lives. I mean, Davis's was blinkered, snooker, 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 snooker. You've always had other things.
Yeah.
As I said, you're one of those mostly really annoying people that, unfortunately, and I say it out of jealousy, unfortunately, you'd have been good at almost anything in sport you tried to do. You don't even know how good you are now. You've never known how good you are. But, you know, you can, you know, I mean, you're a decent runner. I mean, I remember you were playing tennis and you looked the part. Then you pick up a golf club, you looked the part. For people with no ability like me, it's really frustrating even to share a settee with you. But, you know, that's why you're Ronnie O'Sullivan, and that's why you're the individual you are.
And this black to finish and win the Welsh Open with a 147. Brilliant. Sensational. Ronnie O'Sullivan brings the house down.